Alright, welcome back to the channel. Today we have yet another 25-inch Hantarex Polo chassis here, and right on the heels, fresh off the heels of the one in the previous video that really didn't have much wrong with it, but we used that as a basis for what to check and go over and the normal failure things and stuff like that. We've got this one here that's in much worse shape. So I've already given it a quick look over, and it is complete, but it's not without some pretty big issues. So it does have a tag on here that says, police trainer, July 20th, 2011. And then another tag here that says January 23rd, 2012, monitor ticking, blank screen. Well, ticking can be either an HOT issue or something in the power supply, depending on if it's tick, 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 or tick, 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 tick. There's different ticking that can mean different things. But let's go ahead and get this remote board out of the way. And it's missing every single one of the adjustment knobs, which is awesome. I actually have a link. I can put a link down below in the description. I have a link of where you can actually go and buy replacement knobs for the Polo. I'll link that down below so you can check that out. I may have to get some of those myself. Neck board is complete. Doesn't look like it's had any rework. It's missing all the knobs for the neck board too. None of these pots appear to be damaged. Resistors are in good shape. Oh, it's missing, I just noticed this now, it's missing a color transistor, and it's also missing all of the heat sinks. The heat sinks that attach to here. But that is no big deal. I actually have two Polo neck boards with plenty of spare parts here, so we'll be able to use those to replenish this one. If nothing else, we could just swap a whole nother neck board. I have a whole nother neck board here that is missing R40, which is the most common issue of having an all white or all gray screen. R40 goes out of tolerance, and that's missing on this one, and I think that's the only thing missing on this one. So we could simply replace R40 on here and have ourselves a replacement neck board. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Ribbon cable is good. A lot of times this cable going back and forth will break the wires, but it appears to be okay. We're missing all of the cage and all the stuff here, which I have a couple of parts chassis we could steal that stuff off of, no big deal. The shutdown pot is adjusted way off to the side from what it should be. If you notice on this one from the last video that we worked on, the shutdown pot is adjusted roughly, right dead center right there. And this one's way off to the left there, so I'm gonna just spray a little cleaner in here and wipe it back and forth a number of times and just set it right in the middle. Okay. Vertical linearity, I can't tell where that's set to because this one's got that different knob on there. Okay, now with that done, if we give it a look over, other than the cage and all the stuff missing, it is complete. But in my inspection of this, I noticed that the HOT is not original. Somebody has replaced it, and they lost a little clip that keeps it up against the heatsink. That's missing, and it looks like it's an NTE 2300. No idea if that is a valid replacement, but I do have some FJL series HOTs. I can put one in there that I know works. The vertical IC is also missing the little metal bracket that keeps it up against the heatsink, but not only that, somebody has completely desoldered it here, and it's not even soldered in at all. Zero. So yeah, I don't know if it had vertical size or problems or vertical issues, and it may not have had vertical issues at all, and someone tried to replace this not knowing what it is to try and fix the ticking. I don't know. Original flyback. I don't see any signs of splittage or explosions or bubbling or broken case. That all seems all right. And the last thing from viewing on top here is that this resistor, I mentioned this resistor likes to burn up in the last Polo video I did on the previous to this one on the channel. I mentioned that this likes to burn up. Now I don't recall the exact reason for this. I attributed it to one of these two, this either polycap in here or this film cap in there. I attributed this burning up to one of those two, which it may be inaccurate, but this likes to burn up and I can't recall the exact reason. That is tied directly to, back across that way through the Zener. That goes to this transistor, which is tied to one of these pins, which is tied to, oh, the purple red. That goes to brightness. Yeah, so I think that's correct. So I think this thing burning up is part of the brightness circuit, which is attributed to this film cap and that poly cap and this resistor over here, which is not burned up. We'll test it anyway. R240 likes to burn up. So you usually have this one, when this one's usually burned up, this one's usually burned up also, in my experience. But we're going to change all these caps anyway, so not a big deal. I mentioned that in the last video. I think that's the last thing of note on the top here. Since we're doing this here, I'm going to spray the B+ pot and wipe it back and forth. This is a good habit to get into because this will clean up those contacts. This B+ pot, you know, hypothetically has been sitting in the same position for years and years and years, and the contacts develop oxidation. So it's always a good idea to get in the habit of cleaning them with some contact cleaner and just wiping them back and forth and putting them in a nominal position if you haven't tested it yet. We're not going to be able to test this as it sits because of some issues I'm about to show you. So we're not going to be able to test this before we work on it to see if it's working. Someone has done a rudimentary cap kit and it looks like they're all Nichicon caps and it's all fairly decently done. So we may just leave these caps in here if it's working. I mean, they're at least, 2012, they're at least 12 years old, but if they're still in good shape, we may just leave them in there. Of course, the filter caps, this one here is bubbling on the top, and this one here is not, but I think we're going to go ahead and replace them anyway. See, now these are 330. The ones I changed in the last one were 470. Yeah, the ones I changed on this one in the previous video were 470. These are 330. These aren't what are supposed to be in there. They're supposed to be 470s. If I was to grab this parts one, yeah, see, 470. So someone's got the wrong filter caps in here. I think somebody was working here in the power supply, obviously, and they put the wrong ones in here. I mean, it's evident that this one was messed with because it's the leaning tower of capacitor here. This thing's not loose. This one's loose, of course, but we'll show the bottom side here momentarily. It's kind of all butchered like the last one was. But I think someone put the wrong ones in here, so we'll have to do something about that. This one's bulging anyway. So obviously, this was running for a while with the 330s in there, but they should be 470. Microfarad, I mean. Okay, so that pretty much gives us everything on the top side on the overview. And let's go ahead and do the vertical linearity pot too. Well, that's cranked. That was cranked all the way. We'll set this one roughly in the middle position as well. Middle / nominal, whatever you want to call it. Okay, let's set this back up there. All right, now let's flip this over and look at some of this carnage here on the bottom side. So again, somebody has butchered the flyback, probably trying to either replace it or remove it. They've got these jumpers here. At least they didn't crack the board this time, I'm assuming. There is a giant scratch across here, but we'll test that. So there's this going on, and this going on, and this going on, and that going on, and I don't know what in the world happened here. Yeah, and then over here on the power supply side, we got more jumpers, and this has been all butchered here, and that is a MOSFET. This butchery here is all from this MOSFET right there. And is there something missing from there? Is there a component missing there? Yes, there is a missing resistor. No? Where am I looking at here? No, that is down in here. So that's just a leg that's not used, and I can compare it to the other one that we just worked on. But regardless, yeah, and then there's a jumper across here, because when they did the cap kit, they damaged that pad, and it's got continuity going this way, but up this way it doesn't, so I can fix that also without you having to use that jumper. Then we have, I mentioned before that one of the main downfalls of these things is these resistors like to get loose. That one is secure, but this one is not. And if we look here, both solder joints are cracked. I don't know if you can tell here. Yeah, see? So that's cracked, and so is that one. So this being out of circuit would absolutely cause it to tick. I've seen that before. It'll just go tick, 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 very faintly. Well, it chirps. A very low volume chirp, chirp, chirp. So this being out of circuit will kill your power supply for sure. So, and then also I noticed that this capacitor is broken. This trace is busted for this capacitor right there. So that's another issue. That could have happened from handling, I don't know, but it's in really bad shape. So the first thing that I want to do is, it looks like this resistor is bent over. I want to loosen. I want to desolder this and slide it back over so it's sitting up straighter. That's much better. This one here, how loose is this? How funky is your chicken? How loose is your goose? So that's, even though it's wobbly, it's secure. So is this one. Someone has put a little jumper here for the AC. I mentioned before in the last video, these always break, and somebody has obviously broken this one, and they've just done a jumper here. So I think really before we do anything, let's just go ahead and see if the power supply is functional. We can isolate the power supply from the rest of the chassis by desoldering this leg of, well, I'll show you here momentarily. Let's desolder this leg of this jumper. This is the B+ output from the power supply to the rest of the chassis. And by desoldering this jumper right here for TP6, that's where you test your B+, we can actually isolate the power supply from the rest of the board here. What I should do is get my blade and do it, but why are you fighting me like this? What in the world? That did not want to come out of there. Now we're going to have to reshape that. Come on, what the heck? I don't know what this thing's doing. It's desoldered, but it ain't coming out because I'm pulling on the wrong side, you stupid ape. I was pulling on this side and not that side. Ah, you dingbat. You gosh darn idiot galoot. You dull darn idiot galoot. All right, well, let's reform that slightly. Okay, that's not bad. Not too bad. Okay, now let's pull this out of here. And this coil connects directly to it, so we can just clip on right here, because I pulled the wrong side of this thing out by accident, because that's why it's the amateur channel. So with that out, now what we've done essentially is isolated the entire power supply side from the rest of it. So when we get this power, we are only going to power up the power supply side, and this will tell us what's going on here. 3.15 amp on the fuse, and we've got someone put a 4 amp fuse in here. People, I'm telling you, don't do that. Speaking of FJLs, I got a couple here. If we need it, we'll throw it in. Actually, I got this one here that we can put in. Let's do that. I've also got the right fuses in here somewhere. Right here, I got one left. Okay. Because this uses the same 3.15 amp fuse as the 74, 75, 100, 2000, U5000. So there's our 3.15. I am out of those. I need to write that down on my list of stuff to order from Peter. 3.15A fuses. All right. Okay, now with that done, don't overrate your fuses, please, people. That's all I'm going to say. So let's grab our light bulb. Now, my incandescent bulb died. I only have this fluorescent one. Oh my gosh, fluorescent. I'm sorry, LED one. But we should be able to still use it. And I think around 144 volts equates. This should be 138 volts for B+. 138 volts. So somewhere around 144, I think on the last one equated to, off camera I did the light bulb test, 144 volts on our meter equates to around 138-ish on actual load on here. So if we go to volts DC and we go to, I have to hook up this here and clip this on here as well. Make sure we don't touch the ground. And we're not, okay. And then I have to, I don't know, well, it's too late now. I was going to check the ground over here, but I already have all this stuff hooked up, so that's fine. We'll just go to here. All right, so essentially if our power supply is working, this should light up. We should have around 144 is what we're going to adjust the B+ to. So let's just see if our power supply is functional without doing anything to it. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. Takes a few seconds, and no, there's our ticking. You can't really hear it, but it's more of a, let me see if I can get you in closer here. See if you can listen. And we're jumping up to like plus 200. We're jumping up to 227 or 225. So we've got a power supply, but it could simply be the B+ is not adjusted properly. So let's try and adjust our B+ a bit. No, turning the B+ pot does nothing. Turning our B+ pot all the way up, all the way down, is not doing anything. So I'll put it back in the middle. So we've got a power supply issue first and foremost. That's why it's important to do this, because you can spend hours and hours troubleshooting something on the horizontal output side, and it's a power supply problem. So this is very telling. The question is, what is the problem? Is there supposed to be a resistor there? What was that? What in the world was that? Oh, the fuse just blew. Why did the fuse blow? That was my last. That's interesting. Nothing's touching. Did anyone see what happened? Post down below if you saw what happened. Nothing's touching. That's all ground. This has got plenty of space on the ground. That was weird. Yeah, that fuse is a goner. Well, let me see if I've got any parts chassis that I could steal one from. That's why you don't ever overrate your fuse. And sure enough, right here. All right. Oh, I mean to look and see if there's supposed to be a resistor there, and no, there's supposed to be a jumper. Some Dr. Dingle nut. There's supposed to be a jumper there, right there, and somebody has. I'm the dingle nut. There is a jumper there, but there's supposed to be 3 resistors on a jumper. Yeah, okay, so that's normal. 3 resistors, no fourth in a jumper. 3 resistors, no fourth in a jumper. Okay, so that's normal. We'll leave this parts chassis out in case we need to steal something from it. Well, let's look at our replacement fuse and make sure it's 3.15 and 3.15 exactly. So let's snake that back in there and maybe this touched here. I think that's what happened. I think this ground actually moved over and touched this side of the fuse. That's very possible. So if that's the case, we'll hook up our ground somewhere else. All right, let's see if it still works again now with the fuse replaced. Takes a few seconds. Nope, fuse went. Boom. So something is now dead shorted. What is it? Is anything hot? I can smell something. It could have just been the fuse that got hot. So now we've got something that's very bad. So this it was working. I'm imitating the light bulb here. And now something is hard shorted. Let's look at this for comparison and see if anything is missing. That's not in backwards. And I don't see anything. I wonder if the MOSFET is bad because they were messing with it. All right, well, we don't have to worry about anything being powered up because our light bulb will discharge it. If something did energize, the light bulb being hooked up will immediately discharge it. So nothing should be charged up. So let's disconnect all this stuff and see. Start diving into what could be causing this. All right, this is going to be kind of a mess here. What is shorted? So it was working and we shorted something. What is it? Okay, let's start with the MOSFET. That's going to be here. Well, so it's reading short across those two. I don't know if that's normal, so let's check it on this one. And where is it at? It's right here. That's not supposed to be shorted across. We should get 0.551, and on this one we get dead short. So let's pull that MOSFET out, see what's going on. I don't want to blow it up again, so I may rebuild that power supply or check things out again. That cap is not loose. That diode's a bit cracked, but that's just the heat sink. Well, let's pull that diode and make sure, I'm not diode, pull the MOSFET, make sure that it's actually still shorted out of circuit. And if it's still shorted across the two legs with it out, then we'll have to troubleshoot further from that point. I don't see anything. There is one oddity here. May have stolen that. Okay, that one's been stolen. I was going to say there's an extra inductor here where there's not one here, but that one's been taken. Yeah. It's almost got to be the MOSFET. That's fine. Fine. Oh, what the heck? That's loose as a goose. But that's just the heat sink that's loose. The diode, it's, well, no, the component is attached to the heat sink. Okay, continuity is fine. So that's not the problem. Let's just pull that MOSFET and see. I dropped one of these fuses. We'll throw those away. And let's just see if it's still shorted with this removed here. Because I'm not sure what would have caused this to short. Something in the power supply obviously is not very happy. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on here. Let's get this retaining piece off of here and get this out of here. All right. So are the legs shorted out of circuit? They are. MOSFET is a goner. Okay, well, I'm going to replace that thermal pad, or technically it's an insulator, not a thermal pad. I got a brand new one here. We'll replace it. And I've had people comment, how come you don't use thermal compound? Well, it's not necessarily needed. I mean, there's none from the factory. They don't use any from the factory, so I don't have any issue with not using any either. So we'll replace that. And I'm gonna have to, what's the part number on this? Because I have brand new ones. B Bravo Uniform Zulu 90 Alpha. I think I have a couple. .25, those are GL7. Okay, I think I have a couple of those. Six in 6 alpha. I don't think that's. Yeah, I'm not sure. 2SC. No, those are the neckboard transistors. Here we go. Here's some more down here. Oh, wait a minute. Look at that. I got plenty of. Woohoo! I got plenty of fuses. I got to reorganize all my stuff because I had 2 bags. One only had, what, 1 in it? This one's got a whole bunch. So, okay, fuse replaced. All right. Now, as far as this goes, what was this one? This was BUZ 50 alpha, BUZ 90 alpha. Those are neck board transistors. Oh, this is BDX53C. Those are different. 60 alpha. Those are different. What? Well, I tell you what. Let's just steal one from this parts chassis here. Okay, so something is obviously very wrong on the power supply, and it took this out. And I don't want to take this one out as well, so if we turn it on and it doesn't do anything, we're going to go ahead and just... Actually, you know what we should? We're going to just turn it off before it blows a fuse or does some more damage. But let's see these pads, with that out of there, let's see if these pads are shorted. No, the pads are open across each other, and they're not shorted to the, I assume, the base. The center pin's usually the base. If we were to go ground, no, it shouldn't be ground, but we should be able to go to the center here. The center should be the base. Yeah, okay. Well, all right, let's pull this one out, slave it into this other one, see what we get. Okay, that's this leg. This leg. And this one. Okay. Now, same story here. We gotta release that metal retainer clip. And get this guy out of here if he's stuck to the wall. He's stuck to the wall. There we go. Okay. Now, yeah, BUZ90 alpha. So we'll set our parts chassis aside and let's see about getting this guy down in there after I straighten the leg here. And it's always easier said than done on these darn things, because I can't, my hand's covering up the light when I try to see what I'm doing here. Nope. We can, if you ever get issues like this, you can usually use the bottom side of the chassis to kind of line everything up. So if we flip this over and try and put it in on the bottom side here, yeah, it doesn't like that. So let's see about straightening these legs a little bit, getting rid of some of the solder. Okay, that should go through. Now it's a matter of trying to line this up with no light, and I think we got it. No, not quite. Almost. Okay, that should be good. Now let's see about soldering that in. There we go. And got it. Okay, now let's see if we get that 0.515 reading on here, like with the other one. Yep, 0.546. 0.1 and 0.5, just like a MOSFET should read. Or what is it? 0.1, 1 point. So you should get from the base to one leg should be 1.0 something in diode mode, just like this 1.0. Other one should be 0.5. That's a good reading. So we're back to working. So let's just fire it up again real quick and see if we're back to what we were before the fuse was blowing. And if we don't get anything, then we'll turn it off real quick and make sure that something else isn't bad, which it almost would have to be, you know. I'm trying to snake this through here. A little more. All right, so that's on there. Now we gotta finagle this through here to hold that in place. Instead of using screws and nuts and whatnot, they use these little metal protector arms, and sometimes they're not the easiest thing to, you gotta get one side in first. There's a little angle there, you gotta snake it in here, then clip it in that way, and it's not always the easiest thing to do. There we go, got it. Okay. Now, all right, well, take two, new fuse in there. We got plenty more if something goes wrong. Let's make sure that's not touching anything. So we can clip on there, clip on here. We're not worried about voltage. We're just, let's see if we're back to where we were. And, all right, here we go. No. But it did chirp slightly. And I wonder what our amp draw is. I can't hook up I can't use the ammeter function. I'm not sure how to do that. But we're back to, we don't get the light bulb anymore. I wonder, oh, is that because my ground fell off? Hang on. Oh, look, there it is. It does work. Okay. See how the light bulb, I didn't hook the ground up. Why did the ground come off, or did I not hook it up? I don't know. I'm already flustered. So you saw that when I hooked the actual light bulb up, it drained there was residual voltage in the filter caps, and hooking the light bulb up, which is a load on the power supply, drained it. So that's what I mean about it'll automatically drain it. So if we turn it back on again, a few seconds go by, and okay. So we're back to the cycling power. So it's not going to be the switch mode power supply chip. If that was faulty, then it wouldn't turn on at all. It'd be totally dead. So okay, we're back to where we were. I wonder why that failed like that. Probably let it cycle too long. But you think whoever had this in the monitor setup or game they were using, which was Police Trainer, I guess, it would have done that before, and I would have had a blown fuse from the start. So that is interesting. None of this should have anything to do with this stuff going on over here, the loose resistor and that cap. None of that should have anything to do with that. It's just purely over here. Everything from this line right here, this way. So, let's check these resistors here. This one here should be 470 ohm, and I think this one is 15K. It's weird. Let's do some resistance measurements, and we get 14, close enough. How was that other one in there? It's right here. 482, that's fine. So those resistors aren't bad. I wonder if it's the filter caps. Let's take this filter cap out of here and measure it. This one that's bulging. Okay, that's out. And let's just see what it reads. Now I could use, I've got this thing but I'm not sure if we'd be able to use it in this circumstance here. Let's get rid of some of this solder on here. I mean, ultimately, it should be 470, not 330, but, you know, so we need to get one of these in the 1 and one of them in the 2. So 2 and 1. Look at that. They're in there. Hold that. I don't want to crimp it down or clamp it down. Let's see what this reads here. Capacitor, 288 microfarad. And this says 330. So it is a bit low. And as you can see, it's also quite wobbly. So that's about half of the reading that it's supposed to have. And let's take this other one out. We can try putting some other capacitors in there, because I mentioned in the last Polo video I did just previous to this one on the channel that every Polo I've ever worked on in my life has had bad filter caps. Every one of them. So changing the filter caps is priority number 1 whenever you work on one of these, especially when you're recapping it, because you'll have issues like this. So if we go to 1 and 2, got to bend these in just slightly more. There we go. 2 and 1. And let's just see if we can hold that right there. Capacitor 284. So this one's even less than the other one. Okay, well, that's why one of these is handy. Okay, so we got 2 faulty. This one's a bit wobbly too, see that? Now, having the bubble top doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad, but you can see they're only reading, they're supposed to be 330 and they both read about 280. So was it less? I forget. I can't recall things from one moment to the next. So let's grab some good ones. And I know I've got one that's brand new. I may have to rob one from another chassis here. I've got one here on this other. I got lots of parts boards laying around. Don't ask me why. There we go. All right, let's test this one. And this very well could come down to a couple of bad filter caps, because they're always bad. At least in my experience. Okay, 2 and 1. Okay, we'll hold that in there. Boom, 445. Okay. So we'll throw that in there. And I've also got, I think I have one left. We'll need those. Somewhere in here I've got a 470. Right there, 470. Okay. Yes, I have a lot of filter caps. All right, and let's clean these legs off because I pulled these from another board. And I want to make sure this reads it's brand new, but I just want to see what it reads compared to the other one. So this one was what, 440 something? And I want to see with this one being new, if it reads closer to 470. It's not touching, hang on. We got 2 and 1. Let's try and hold that in there. Close that slightly. Try this again. 405. So this one, that's odd. This one reads even lower. Well, they're closer to what they should be, so we're going to put these in there and just see if it does anything different. First, I need to clean these holes out here. Okay. Of course, the first thing I really should have done is gone through and done a better visual inspection and tested traces and connections and things, but where's the fun in that? All right, so negative on this side. That one's in. Negative on this side. That one's in. All right, and we'll give this a try. So with those replaced, do you think it's going to do anything different? I don't know. Oh, what in the world? How'd that happen? There we go. Okay. Got a little cockeyed on me there. All right, so now let's see. I don't expect it to do much, but we have to change them anyway because they were the wrong ratings and who knows what else. So I don't expect this to work, but they needed to be changed anyway, so no harm, no foul. Okay, place your bets. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, see, I didn't expect it to change or make any difference, but okay, same thing, and it'll dissipate. So now we're discharged. Can handle it safely. And I'm gonna go grab something to drink, ponder my life's decisions here for a moment, and I'm gonna come right back. All right, so I got my Diet Pepsi ready to go. I sat down, started checking stuff out, and sure enough, broken pad. So I was gonna mention before that sometimes these transformers actually will go bad. I've seen the wires break off and things like that. And if we look at that transformer, right here, this little guy right here is a broken pad. The trace is broken. Not sure if you can tell, but this thing got walloped and it broke that pad. And you can see here that I've got continuity set up on the meter. Oh, messed out with it. But anyway, so if I go here to here, good. Here to here, good. Here to here, not good. Nothing. So, what's the best course of action? Well, I will show you exactly what the best course of action is. We will get rid of this solder mask between these two components. Brush all this off of here, and we can simply build a bridge out of it. Ah, but can you not also make bridges out of stone? Oh yeah. Does wood sink in water? No, it floats. Throw her into the pond. What also floats in water? Bread. Apples, very small rocks, cider, a great gravy, cherries, mud, churches, lead, a duck. Exactly. So, logically, if she weighs the same as a duck, she's made of wood, and therefore, a witch. Okay, build that up a little bit, and a little bit on there, And if I was a betting man, I'd say that was our problem. But I need to go through here and do a little bit more touch up, and I'll do all this stuff off camera when I'm done here, just a full reflow and hitting everything. But for now, I want to just hit the spots that look pretty rough. And yeah. And I think, not sure if I want to, I'll fix this down here. I'll fix that later. So now we need to test that, make sure that's good. Yep. And place your bets. Inspection's important. I probably should have caught that originally, but in the sake of content, I wanted to just fire it up the way it was without doing anything and see what we had. And as it turns out, we had nothing. Well, we had something, but we didn't have what we wanted. So now, let's see if that light bulb stays lit. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Okay. Let's see what our voltage reads. Let's put this back over there and see what our voltage reads. What do we have? 172. Yikes. Rat bastard. Let's grab another set of leads here and clip on over here instead. Okay, ground and voltage. Okay, now I want to turn this down to about 145 or so. Actually, maybe not. It's all the way down completely, and we're at 147. So, I don't know. That last one I had, I was getting about 144 with the light bulb without anything else hooked up. And then after I hooked everything up and powered it up, it was 138. So, I'm not sure. Let's leave it right dead center in the adjustment. We're 168, and we'll just see what that reads once we get this working in on the tube. And maybe my math was wrong. Maybe I'm just remembering, it could have been 164, I don't know. I could be remembering incorrectly. So, okay, power supply fixed. Turn this off and let it dissipate. You'll see the voltage is going down. And 51, 50, 49, 48, and that's with this being hooked up. So that's good to go. It goes down rather quickly, so we're safe to handle it now. 36 volts isn't going to hurt anybody. So, and then it's still dissipating even as I speak. So, all right, okay. Power supply, good. Now we can disconnect that. Let's not forget to hook that jumper back up, because that always bites me when I go to power this up. Hey, I'm not getting anything. Well, because I forgot to put this jumper back in. Sometimes you'll get a little snap if you don't discharge this properly or wait, you know, a moment or so. Sometimes you'll get a little snap when you hook that back up, because it's putting the residual voltage back over into the horizontal section, or horizontal circuit. Make sure that's good. That is good. Okay. All right. So, not sure what caused this to short, but now we got a functional power supply section. Now it's time to start going through and fixing all the issues. Now, I don't know, I mean, in the interest of not having a 3-hour long video, because this one's, I mean, already, who knows, I don't even know how long this is, half an hour already, maybe more. I think in the interest of not having a 3-hour video, I'm going to go through and reflow this thing over here that's all loose. I'm going to go through and do a full reflow. I'm going to leave these caps in here. I'll fix this loose resistor. I'll fix this loose capacitor. I will replace all of the caps, all of these polypropylene caps. That one, this one, and this one, and this one, and that one, and this one, and that one, and the one in here, and the one over here, and this film cap here, and I'll change this resistor out, and I'll change all these components out. We didn't check the HOT, so let me actually check the HOT, make sure it's not shorted. I think they probably now that I think about this, with it ticking and it's making, actually it was chirping. Chirping is the more accurate description. I think that the whole problem with this was that broken pad on the transformer, and they did all this other work. They changed the HOT, they pulled out the vertical IC for some reason, so I'll have to put that back together and fix that. And also I'll do all that stuff off camera. I'll come back with all that stuff replaced, and then we'll go ahead and try it out. I'll also go through and do testing, and anything that I find that's bad, I'll point that out. You know, like make sure that, actually, matter of fact, let's just test that now. Let's test it now. So HOT, negative lead in the center pin, and each outer leg with the positive should be in diode mode, should be 0.45-ish voltage drop to each side. 4.8 and 4.8. So that HOT checks good, but I don't know if it's supposed to be, if it's compatible or accurate. So I'm going to put the FJL in there. I know that's good. Let's go ahead and just check these two traces here that have the giant scratch across them. Let's go back to continuity. Yeah, that one's fine, and that's fine. Okay, let's check that. We know the ground's going to be okay. What about to this side? Yeah, okay, so ground's good. Oh, that's not. This damaged trace here that runs down this jumper, I got continuity to the into the jumper, but follow it down here, we got nothing to there, nothing to there. The repair is not soldered to the exposed leg of the trace. If we look there, you can see that there is an exposed leg of the trace, but it's not soldered to it. Again, another example of why you can't just use your eyes. You have to physically touch and test everything. And that's not working. That is not working. So we're going to do a little bit more surgery here to expose more of that trace. And we will give this another try here. This is, I'll fix all this properly off camera, but I just want to be able to verify our continuity is good. So let's test that now. Yep, good now, so okay. And that has no connection. This one, good. This one, good. We checked the ground already. That one's good. That one goes around to here, that's good, okay. And this one. All right, so just that one that wasn't any good. So this thing's all loose as a goose. We'll have to fix that. So, okay, well, I think, yeah, let me fix all this stuff, replace all this stuff, get it ready for testing. I'll come back, we'll show it off, and then we'll see if we can hook it up and what we get. I do need to probably go ahead and replace these parts on the neck board. I'll get that done too, and I'll resolder in this vertical IC. No idea why they removed it, and I'm going to have to steal these the little retainer bracket for it. So, all right, let me get all that work done, and then we'll come back and see where we're at, and probably do some testing from that point. So stand by. All right, and here we are. So all the rework has been done. I only ended up having an actual top cage. I don't have the bottom plate. All I have is the top cage, which will be fine. But I got, there were 3 capacitors that were not replaced. There was a cap kit done except for this cap, and this cap. So I changed those out. All the rest of them I verified from the bottom side. That was obviously had been replaced. So all of them had been replaced except for this one, and that one. Oh no, this one, and this one. So I got those changed out, went through and checked the rest of them. So I went ahead and put the black mark on there. I'm not going to change these out because these are all Nichicon, and I assume they were changed out whenever the troubleshooting was performed. So I'm not going to change them out. This should be okay. We got the replacement caps in there again. This is a brand new one. This one checks okay, so we're going to leave that one in there. These are the old ones. I think somebody put these in there during the troubleshooting process, trying to figure out what was going on. Just grabbed some that would work for testing, and they're just not the right ones. So I got those changed out. I got all of the polypropylene caps replaced, all the ones here and the ones in here and along there. I got this resistor replaced, the one that was burned up. It's supposed to be 150 ohms, and it actually does read 150 ohms, but it's burned up, so I want to go ahead and replace it. So I have a bunch of these 150 ohm resistors. on hand, so I changed them out. Those are direct replacements. You can see I've got that replaced. This is the old burned up one. Even though it does actually check and read 150 ohms, it's extremely common to have this one burned up. That's why I bought this assortment here, not assortment, but I bought this bag of resistors for this very purpose. So I got that changed out. So yeah, all the caps, full reflow, got it all cleaned up, got that resistor replaced. This resistor over here that deals with brightness, that checks good. It's supposed to be, I think, 140K, is that right? I can't recall. Let's look here. I think it's 140K. 180K, okay, 180K, so that's correct. We have 4.7 ohms on this one. That's correct. This one should be 2.2, I think. Yep, 2.2, so that's fine. So the power resistors are good. I got the damaged traces repaired on this capacitor. I got the damaged pads and traces repaired on these two resistors. I got the, there's a bunch of hackery going on here on the vertical IC. Got that all soldered in. I got this all cleaned up. It looks better than it was. It's not perfect, but it's better than it was, like I say. I went through and added some more solder and beefed up these connections here on these resistors. And we got our repair done that was killing our power supply. So yeah, the reflow, the caps have been changed out, all the rework has been done, everything is fixed up and ready to go. I went ahead and replaced the HOT. I did get the retainer clip on the vertical IC and the HOT. Now I do want to say that I don't have any idea if this is even compatible. I didn't look up the specs for it because I'm too lazy, but I went ahead and put an FJL 6920 in there with the clip because I know that's going to be good and work fine. So I think that's about it. Yeah, I did get the neck fixed. These transistors that were in there were not even, this one was the bad MOSFET. These two transistors, no, this one was the bad MOSFET. These two transistors that were in here were not even the right ones. That's why they didn't have the heat sinks on there. So I robbed 3 heat sinks and 3 good transistors from, did I say resistor? This is the bad MOSFET. These 2 transistors that were in here were the wrong ones, which is why there were no heat sinks, because they won't fit on these. So I got the correct ones in there with the heat sinks. This all cleaned up and back together. These were all butchered as well. Whoever put these in butchered those all up. So everything is now good to go, clean, fixed, put back together, replaced. And I mentioned before, I'll link down below the video prior to this one on the channel where I just worked on a Polo previous to this one. And I talked about the importance of replacing all of these polypropylene caps, the ones all around the HOT and the 2 in here and the one along there, for this reason and this reason most especially. This was C174. C174 was here in the position of this orange one, and look at the cap here. It's all burned up, both sides. So I think this cap was faulty and taking out the HOT. So this is, I marked it here so I can know which one it was. So very important to replace all these polypropylene caps, and I'll link down below the video prior to this one on the channel where I have in that description all the part numbers for all these caps to change out. So with all of the, so there's 2 polypropylene caps, so I'm sorry, 1 poly cap over here and 1 film cap over here. Originally, I think it's, like these 2 here. So it's important to change these out because if this resistor is good and this resistor is good and you have no brightness control, it's going to be one of these 2 caps in here, either the one that's down there or the one that's down there. I think I've mentioned that twice now already, so 3rd time's a charm. But so that's another reason why it's just one of the most important things that you can do to do preventative maintenance on these Polos is reflow the entire power supply and replace all of the polypropylene caps. The one over here, these 2, and all the ones up here. Even this one up here by the linearity coil for horizontal. That's the 2 most important things you could possibly do to increase the longevity lifespan of your Polo. So with all of that rework done and all these components replaced and changed out, it's time to now give it a try. So I will set all these aside and we will reattach our remote board. And let me steal a couple of pegs here. Do I have I don't have any. I don't have a single extra peg, so we're gonna have to steal one from the other Polo that I have over here that works, that I fixed in the last video. Fixed in the last video. But I did not do any of this yet. I'm not even sure if this will do anything. We're going to start with these two here. I want to just wipe these back and forth and kind of set them in the middle range, roughly there. And then we'll try these here. These are the opposite direction of those other two. That's odd. These pots especially can be very scratchy. So it's important to go through and just wipe them back and forth. Set them about mid-range. Okay, so that's good. Try and do something similar here on these. It's not crucial or critical, but I'm not even sure how much of this cleaner is getting down in there. It's kind of like a placebo effect on a lot of these, because if they're, you know, sealed or whatnot, you're not going to have much of a penetration there on these pots with this stuff, but it's better than nothing. All right. Well, boys and girls, let's go ahead and, I don't care about colors, let's go ahead and leave this in the brightness pot. There we go. And time to hook up we're not going to put this on yet, obviously, because I want to be able to adjust the B+. So we'll get it on a tube, we'll get it ready for power, we'll hook up our meter to test our B+, and then fire it up and cross our fingers and see if it works. All right, so everything's hooked up, ready to go. The only thing that could really put us on our butt is a faulty flyback, but we'll find that out pretty quickly. So we have our anode, neck, yoke, ground, remote, power, and video, the critical 7 all hooked up. And we'll go ahead and turn on the TPG and cycle it a couple times. We got our B+ hooked up on our test point to read for our voltage. Should be somewhere close to, 138. We'll find out. I left the cage off, like I said, to adjust it. So, A, we're hoping to see it turn on. B, we're hoping to see a decent image. And C, we're hoping to be able to adjust our B+. So, cross our fingers here first. Let's just see if it turns on. Again, it takes 2 or 3 seconds for anything to happen. So, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, 155. It did turn on, or 155 is way too high. I don't want to run it at 155. Let's turn it, okay, so success, it does turn on, okay. I don't want to run it at 155. So let's go ahead and just tweak this slightly. I can't get the screwdriver in there. Let's go ahead and, I can't get that stupid thing in there. Do I have anything else that I could use? Not really. This is not the original pot, and somebody has... Okay, well, let's just turn it back on. Okay, it does turn on 153. I don't want to run this at... Well, it does work, and it's freaking out. 149. Well, I'm turning it the right way, so let's just tweak this a little bit. Right, and didn't really turn much there. Let's try that. Ooh, wrong way, 162. And something, let's turn that screen pot. Oh, the screen pot's maxed out. Well, no wonder. Let's turn that all the way down, turn it up a little bit. The screen pot was maxed out. That's, that wasn't good. No wonder it didn't like what I was doing there. All right, let's turn it that way. See what that does. All right, that's better. 152. And it is working. Let's turn this flyback back down even more. We're way too blue. And focus works. That is crisp. Well, that's the flyback completely turned down. And it's still, the lines are coming back. It's not happy. And it does have an image. It's not happy though. It's climbing. How come I can't adjust this stinking B+? There, that's to the right. 148, that's closer. We're looking for 138. God, don't touch these resistors. They hold a charge. I mentioned that in the last video. Not enough to hurt you, but just give you a little zap. $141, 142, okay. We're making progress here. The problem is I don't know if I'm turning it. Yes, 137. We'll leave it there for a moment. But we have an all blue image. The flyback is 100% all the way down, and it's still this. If I turn the flyback up, something is not good. We're not collapsed, so I mean we got that going for us. Brightness all the way up. I'm turning it down, turning it down, turning it down. So we do have brightness control, but again it's tied to contrast. If I turn contrast, oh no, we don't have, well, it's not turning, hang on. Yeah, we have no contrast control at all. Brightness does work a little bit. That's the test screen going nuts. Okay, so something is still wrong here. I don't think it's a flyback issue. We've got raster lines with the screen pot all the way down. Actually, well, there, 100% down, and that's what we got. All blue screen. We got vertical hold going crazy here. There's vertical hold. So we've got a, oh, I kicked the board down here. We got a stable image, but it's all blue. And we got the raster lines without turn all the way down. We got 137. So B+ is fine at 137. Not going to worry about that. That's with no signal. That's with a signal. So something is not right here. I am going to try an actual PCB, but I don't expect it to be any different. Let's, I'm wondering if we have a short on our RGB decoder chip. So I'll probably go ahead and pull that and put a socket in there and put a known good one in and see if that makes any difference. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and see if we can just turn our blue. Yeah, it does work somewhat, but that wouldn't cause this to be overdriven like that. Hang on, what the heck? I'm turning the green pot, and this is what's happening. Okay, now we have, oh! Okay, we've got neckboard problems, guys. We have neckboard, because now we're all green. As I'm fiddling with this. Okay. Let's turn that flyback back up. Well, we got the raster lines down here, but not up here. Let me play around with this, see what I can figure out here. Hang on. All right, so I got that decoder chip out, put a socket in there, and put a brand new one in there. And I'm pretty sure my suspicion of that being the culprit was correct, because when I turned this around to take that off, that whole section of the neckboard was smoking hot. I mean, like, you couldn't touch it or you burn your finger. That chip was dead short. Here it is right here, and it's dead short. I mean, I had to wait 5 minutes to be even able to be even how do I phrase this? To even be able to handle it. I can't handle the English language, but you get the idea. So I had to wait like 5 minutes to even be able to handle this. I can't even get it the second time. After letting it cool down to a point to where I could actually work on it, I put a new one in there with a socket, and I have not turned it on yet. So I'm assuming that'll solve our problem, if not make it better. And that actually makes sense as to why somebody had changed these transistors out. One was missing, 2 of them were incorrect. Heat sinks were gone because somebody was trying to figure out this color problem, and they didn't know what they were doing, and didn't realize that decoder chip was likely the problem. And it also makes sense as to why it was driving the green and blue completely all the way shorted, because internally it was bad, and why adjusting the pots, made it do what it did. So after putting one in there that's not shorted, let's see what it does here. I have not tried it yet, so we'll turn that on and all back together. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Fires back up. What do we get this time? Hallelujah! Imagine that. Okay, well, we have a repaired working Polo. Let's get it on. Let's get the camera on the tripod and do some adjustments, and then use an actual PCB to do final adjustments and colors, and let's see how good we can make this look. All right, so now that this is working, let's check RGB. RGB is good. Okay, well, let's go ahead and turn it off, and let me swap over to a PCB. Let's go ahead and use Mortal Kombat 2 again, because I'm pretty sure I used this in the last video. Alright, let's see what this does. And it works. Okie dokie, smoky, H phase. Let's adjust our linearity here for vertical. That's good there. And let's just go ahead and wait. We're way too green, but doesn't matter. Blue's good. Okay, we'll turn up brightness. Oh. This pot is super flaky. Yeah, this pot. Yeah, that pot is super flaky. Contrast. Yeah, this, I'm gonna, hold on. I'm gonna swap out the neck board here, or neck, I'm sorry, a remote board with this one from this other Polo, because this thing appears to be way too sensitive, and this one has all the pots on it. Okay. Alright, so yeah, this one, just simply touching the brightness pot makes the screen go completely out, so there we go. Yep, see, brightness down, brightness up, brightness down, brightness up, contrast down, contrast up. Okay, let's adjust our screen pot. That's good. Brightness down, brightness up, contrast, that looks good there. Focus. Oh man, crispy crisp. Okay. Vertical size. I need to adjust vertical position. Other way. Well, I'd like to go the other way, but I don't have the... And that's as low as it goes, apparently. Vertical size. Yeah, well, let's do some green. Green's all the way down. Okay, well, let's turn up some blue. And some red. Oop. What do you think of that? I think that's pretty good. How about our H amp, which is here? Yep, good on that. Turn brightness down slightly. Boys and girls, there you go. I need to try. Yeah, a little too green in person. Let's try. Turn that down. That's better. Yeah, wow. Let's turn our contrast down slightly. There we go. That's better. Okay. Yeah. Vertical size again. We'll go to roughly. Let's go there. I don't have the controller knob to adjust this vertical position. Let's go down with it. There we go. I stuck a different tool in there. We're too red again. After this is warmed up a bit, we're a little too red. Oh, calm down there, pot. Now let's do vertical amp again. You can see the background is slightly brown. That's good. Maybe you can't through the camera, but in person it's good. And we're slightly blue in the background there, which is what you want. And that looks pretty good. So there you have it, boys and girls. A successfully resurrected Hantarex Polo that was previously in very bad shape. So not much else to say. I need to probably do a little bit better cleaning on these pots or on this remote board, and do some reflow and see if I can get this figured out. I mean, I do have I have a complete spare that I can use, but I want to try and get this one working since this is the one that came with the chassis. So using this other one here from the other Polo I fixed in the video previous to this one on the channel, chassis is working beautifully, perfect. So I just need to get going on trying to figure out this remote board, trying to get the pots all cleaned up and figure out why it's going haywire. But that's not too big of a deal. Otherwise, for the purposes of this video, we are good to go. A successfully resurrected Hantarex Polo. Now that it's warmed up, we're a little too green again. There we go. Man, that looks good. I love these polos when they're working. Unbelievable. So, all right. Well, hopefully you learned something. Thank you very much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And again, as I say always, I appreciate it, and stay tuned for more.